I'm sure that you know that being obese or morbidly obese is not healthy. I know you're aware of that, but in this video, I want to kind of break that apart a little bit and help you understand this better, because many times the association between obesity and other dangerous chronic conditions are misstated, and it's very confusing if you don't have a degree in medicine. And so you wind up believing false things, which basically steals all your hope. Many of us, I used to be morbidly obese. Many of us think, well, that's just who I am. I'm just a big guy. I'm just a big fat guy. I'm stuck with that. I just have to work around that. When in reality, that's not true at all. And so we're going to break apart why obesity is so unhealthy, what things it does put you at increased risk for, why it puts you for increased risk for those things. And hint, it's not because you're fat. That's not what gives you the increased risk. And then give you some hope, how you can take charge of this. In this world where it feels like you don't have control of anything going on around you, you can absolutely take control of your obesity and turn it around. I'm Dr. Ken Berry, a family physician with 20 years of clinical experience. And this video is going to help you understand why obesity is so dang unhealthy. Obesity and morbid obesity are associated with many, many bad medical diseases. I'm going to run through a list quickly and give you just a little thought on each one. And you may already suffer from some of these. Hopefully, someone who cares about your health has shared this video with you. That's why you're watching it. They didn't call you fat. They're just trying to help you correct this very correctable, reversible medical problem. Okay, big is not beautiful, but also big is not ugly. It's a medical condition. It's not a judgment against you. It's not a judgment against me. Back when I was morbidly obese, I was at a huge increased risk of all these terrible things that I'm about to tell you about. Now, my risk for all these things is back to the baseline risk of a normal sized person because I reversed my obesity. And you can too. Now let's go through this list. First of all, type 2 diabetes. You may already have that. If not, you're definitely at risk for that. Almost everyone with obesity develops either pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes at some point in their life. And it's not being fat that causes the diabetes. And I know you've probably heard it 1,000 times, oh, you're fat, you're going to get diabetes, as if the obesity caused the diabetes, but that's not the case. But the same things that are causing you to be obese and causing you to remain obese despite your best efforts are also the things that are causing the diabetes. And that's going to be a way of thinking about this that's going to be repeated through this entire list. The next thing is heart disease, heart attack, heart failure. All these things go hand in hand with obesity. And there are actually heart specialists out there who'll say, yeah, you know, you're overweight, you've got so much extra tissue that your heart has to pump blood to. That's baloney. It has nothing to do with it, okay? There's a very specific set of reasons that are making you obese, and I'm going to tell you about those reasons at the end of this video and what you can do about it. And they're the same things that cause you to have heart trouble, heart attack, stroke, heart failure. The next is stroke, which is not a heart issue. It's a brain issue. You can think of it as a brain attack. And it's where you have an artery that gets clogged up through inflammation and damage until you have a clot. And then you lose blood flow to that part of your brain. That's a stroke. Being overweight, being obese increases your risk of having a stroke. But it's not the obesity that causes it. It's the same things I'm going to tell you about below. The same thing that causes the obesity also increases your risk of having a stroke. Next is high blood pressure or hypertension. The same exact thing applies. The things I'm going to tell you down below are what's causing your obesity. They're also what's causing the hypertension, unless you have a very, very rare secondary type of hypertension, which your doctor should be checking for. 95% of people have primary hypertension or essential hypertension or idiopathic hypertension. They're all the same thing. It means we don't know what causes them, but we actually do now know what causes them, and you can also use these things I'm going to tell you below to reverse your obesity and reverse your hypertension, or at least improve it as well. The next is fatty liver disease, NAFLD or NASH. All of these things are caused by not obesity, but by the same causes of obesity. And so if you're obese, you're very, very likely to have fatty liver disease. and that they go hand in hand, but one doesn't cause the other. They're both caused by the same set of key causes. Next is gallstones. Very common. When I was in my general surgery rotation, one of the F's that we used, we had a mnemonic, the 5 F's, that told us who was more likely to have gallstones, and one of the F's stands for fat, because if you're overweight, you're much, much more likely to have a gallstone. And again, it's not being fat that caused the gallstone. They go hand in hand because they're caused by the same root causes. The next is cancer. Multiple types of cancer, like breast cancer, have been directly tied through research to being obese. But in actuality, every kind of cancer is more likely if you are obese or morbidly obese, because your increased risk of cancer is caused by the same things that cause obesity. The next is depression. And you're like, no, I have a serotonin or a dopamine imbalance. No, you have the same key set of things I'm just about to tell you about that led to not only your depression, but also your obesity. Never has your doctor done a lumbar puncture or a spinal tap and checked your levels of serotonin or dopamine in your spinal fluid. Is that right? They've not done that, have they? So then how do they know? Actually, this is a very common thing you'll hear about depression, but no one has ever proven that there is a neurotransmitter deficiency in people who have depression. That is a big fat lie. If you'd like to know other lies that your doctor may be telling you, I got a book called Lies My Doctor Told Me. I'll put a link down in the show notes. The next thing that being obese puts you at increased risk of is arthritis. And again, you're like, well, duh, I weigh 400 pounds. I'm obviously going to get arthritis in my knees, right? Well, here's the problem with that. People who are obese also are much more likely to have shoulder arthritis or cervical spine, neck arthritis, or arthritis in their hands. But these are not weight bearing. You don't walk on your hands, especially if you're obese, you don't. So how is being obese causing my arthritis in my fingers and hands? I used to have severe arthritis back when I was morbidly obese. Now I don't anymore. And getting rid of my obesity didn't help my hand not have to carry as much weight. You see how that makes no sense? The same things that are causing your obesity are also causing the arthritis in your joints. Okay? The next thing is gout. Same exact thing. I'm not going to repeat myself. It's caused by the same set of things. And then finally, asthma. You're more likely to have asthma and other lung conditions if you're obese or morbidly obese. And your lungs are not weight bearing. And, some people will say, well, yeah, your lungs have to work so hard to move air to get oxygen for all the extra parts of you because you weigh 300, 400, 500 pounds. That's just not true at all. It comes down to the following 3 things. This is why being obese is associated with all of the things I just talked about above. You have chronic hyperinsulinemia and or insulin resistance. The chronically high insulin levels lead to fat storage. That's one of the leading reasons that you're obese right now, is because you're eating a diet and living a lifestyle that keeps you chronically with high levels of insulin. Insulin is the best fat storage hormone we have, and it also turns off fat burning. So as long as you're eating a diet that makes your insulin levels high all the time or multiple times a day, you ain't gonna burn no fat. You might lose 5 or 10 pounds and then gain back 10 or 15. And that's gonna happen over and over until you start eating the proper human diet that I'm gonna tell you about below. The next thing is chronic inappropriate inflammation. When you're eating things like sugar and like grains, I know you think whole grain is good for you right now, but grains are very inflammatory. Every single grain and grass seed has phytochemicals in there to protect the seeds, which are the plant's little babies. They don't want their babies to be eaten, so they put things in there that are bad for herbivores. And so if you're eating seeds, that's from a plant, you're an herbivore. And that they're trying to discourage you from eating that. But we're told all the time that grains are the healthiest thing you can eat, and they're full of vitamins and minerals, another big fat lie. And none of that's true. Grains are inflammatory to every human being. Some people can't really notice the inflammation, but it's still there. Some people can notice the inflammation immediately if they eat rice, wheat, oats, corn, barley, rye, amaranth, millet. Other people are like, I don't know, I've got a little knee pain, but you know, and so this inflammation caused by what you eat can manifest itself as inflammation in your heart arteries or your brain arteries or in your right knee or in your left hand joint. That's where the inflammation is coming from. This inflammation also raises your cortisol levels, and cortisol is the second most important hormone that turns off fat burning and causes you to store more fat. And so by eating the diet you're currently eating, you're keeping your insulin levels and your cortisol levels chronically elevated. You're never going to burn off the fat. No matter if you live on the treadmill, live in the gym, and eat rice cakes all day, you're never going to lose the weight. It's just not going to happen. And then the third thing, which is very, very important, is nutrient deficiencies. And I'm talking about vitamins and minerals. And you might look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm obviously eating enough. I weigh 250, 350, 450. I'm obviously eating enough food. But the problem is the food you're eating is nutrient void. It doesn't have any nutrients. There are foods that you can eat that are very nutrient dense. There are other foods, although it might say fortified right there on the package, fortified with all the B vitamins. The problem is that first of all, the high carbohydrate load, let's use bread for example, and use thiamine, vitamin B1 as an example. So all bread is fortified with vitamin B1, thiamine. The problem is they're using a chemical factory made thiamine-like molecule, which is not the kind of thiamine that you get in real human food. And so you're not going to absorb that or use that as well. Secondly, the bread has so many carbohydrates and starches which turn immediately to sugar. And it's well known in the scientific literature that sugar, if you eat a high sugar diet, that discourages your body's ability to absorb thiamine, vitamin B1. And so you can eat fortified bread all day long, and it can be whole grain, non-GMO, organic. You're never going to get the B vitamins out of that bread that you're going to get out of real human food like meat and liver and other things. And so these three together, hyperinsulinemia and or insulin resistance, chronic inappropriate inflammation in different parts of your body or in all of your body, including your brain, and then nutrient deficiencies, even though you feel like you're overfed, and you are with crap foods, but you're not getting the vitamins and minerals that your body needs because your body uses these vitamins and minerals as cofactors in thousands and thousands of little physiological reactions that happen in your body with enzymes. And those things just can't happen. And so you wind up with fatigue and all these other symptoms that go along with all these diseases, which are all related to, but not caused by, being obese. Got it? Now, let's talk about the things you can do to absolutely stand up right now as soon as this video is over. Watch till the end. As soon as this video is over, you can start making changes to your diet that will help you start to burn fat immediately, okay? Number one, you're going to remove all sugar from your diet, both added or natural sugar. Yeah, so the sugar from orange juice, that's just as bad as the sugar from Pepsi. Get rid of all that. Number two, get rid of all the grains out of your diet. Wheat, rice, oats, corn, all of them. All of them break down immediately into sugar. All of them have those little phytochemicals I told you about earlier to keep you from absorbing nutrients and to cause inflammation in your body. Thirdly, get rid of all of the vegetable oils out of your diet. Canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower, safflower, peanut oil, corn oil. All these things are very inflammatory to the human body. They lead to this chronic inappropriate inflammation. And almost always, you're going to be eating a food that's also very high in carbohydrates as well. So when you get rid of these three things, you're going to start eating lots of nutrient-dense food that's full of protein and fat, because you need amino acids and you need fatty acids. You have to have those, right? But there's no essential carbohydrate. You also need lots of vitamins and minerals, and the way to find them in the most usable form that your body can actually go, hey, there's some vitamin B1, and grab it and use it, is to eat natural human foods, the proper human diet that human beings have been eating ever since we've been on this planet. And hint, those foods don't come from factories, and they don't sit on the grocery store shelves in the center of the store. There's no real food there. Next, you're going to start doing some intermittent fasting because our ancestors, thousands of years ago, didn't eat every 2 hours. They ate once or twice, maybe 3 times a day, but they had very discrete meals. There was no snacking in between. And so from their last meal in the evening to their first meal the next day, they might go for 14 or 16 or 18 hours without eating. When they did that, their level of insulin, remember the fat storage hormone, the level of insulin goes way back down to normal when you don't eat for 16 or 18 hours. That's when you can burn some fat. Also, the levels of inflammation when you're not eating, your body deals with this inflammation and it makes it better. It decreases the inflammation. Again, that's a point in your favor. And then when you do break that fast, and it might just be 12 hours to start out with, but eventually if you'll get up to 16 or 18 hours, you're really going to start working on the obesity problem in a big way. And so when you do break that fast, you're going to eat nutrient-dense, vitamin-rich, mineral-rich foods that are full of fatty acids and amino acids. Now, there's 2 particular diets that I talk about the most. One is the ketogenic diet, the keto diet. You've heard of that. And the other one is a carnivore diet. So both of these diets have all the fatty acids and all the amino acids that your body needs. They also have all of the vitamins and minerals that your body needs. They're both very, very low in carbohydrates, which is not only going to keep your insulin low so that you can burn off fat, but it's also going to not interfere with you absorbing vitamins and minerals from your diet. The keto diet and the carnivore diet also doesn't have all of the phytochemical anti-nutrients that the grains have in them, so you're able to actually grab vitamin B1 and vitamin B12, and also you can grab some iodine out of your diet and actually absorb it into your body and use it. That's what these diets are going to give you. So as you're living in this chaotic world where you feel like everything's out of control, I'm telling you as a doctor, you can take control of your diabetes. You can take control of your heart disease. You can take control of your sleep apnea, your blood pressure, on and on and on, by taking control of these 3 things. And in the process, you're also going to take control of your obesity. I've included links in the show notes below to the Keto 101 playlist and the Carnivore 101 playlist. If you like some veg in your diet, watch the Keto 101. If you just be happy eating nothing but meat, watch Carnivore 101. You're going to be able to get a completely nutritious, wholesome, healthy diet and start to reverse your obesity today. You're not going to have to wait 6 months to see a change. You're going to start losing pounds immediately if you're obese or morbidly obese. If this video gave you hope, I would ask that you do 2 things. Click that subscribe button and the bell right beside it so that every time I have a new idea, you'll be one of the very first to know. Secondly, please share this video with someone who's obese or morbidly obese who needs this information. I promise you they're struggling just as hard, if not harder than you are. They think that being obese is who they are. It's part of their identity, and nothing could be further from the truth. It's a medical condition that they currently suffer from that they can easily reverse when they learn the information that's in this video and other videos on my channel. So please, please, please share this video with a friend of yours and send it along with a little direct message and say, dude, I'm not sending this to you because I'm making fun of you because you're fat. I'm sending this to you because I love you. You're my friend. You're my brother, my sister. I want you to live a long, healthy life so that I can enjoy going through this life with you. Please watch this video. All right, that's it, guys. This is Dr. Barry. I'll see you next time.